Icat polaris is super tergum Aquila volat.
Still there? She's not going to have walked off, is she? That's the whole problem. Just the same. You have to wear these. Thanks. You already gave it to her, didn't you? What were you trying to do? I was only trying to open the garage doors. I didn't know she was in here. I didn't know anyone was in here. What happened exactly? I went out this morning. We'd run out of breakfast cereal. Mum had already gone out to work, so I took Aquila down to the shops. And when I came back, I remembered that blue light. Blue light? In the park. It pulled that shopping trolley towards us, remember? I thought that maybe it would pull open the garage doors so I wouldn't have to get out. But it didn't open the doors? No. Oh. A cat as well. Well, I think that's why she went into the garage. You shot her again? Well, I thought the second light might sort of put it in reverse. But it didn't? No. Funny, Jeff. If she's dead or something, Mum will go berserk. She won't like what you did to the cats either. It's a nightmare. This whole thing's a nightmare. Rather urgent.
Well, I'm not sure he's even up yet. You better follow me.
Severe sto.
My dad said it might be Latin.
We thought maybe you could tell us for certain.
Archaeologists have to know about Latin, don't they?
Well, it certainly helps. Yes, it is.
Well, what does it mean?
How can I help you?
Well, we wondered if you could tell us...
No, that's what it means. How can I help you? A literal translation would be, I stand ready to serve. But in the modern idiom, is everything all right?
That's great, Professor.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, there's one other thing. Could you tell us Latin for what does this do?
Quid hoc facit.
Quid...
May I? I don't suppose there's any point in asking you what this is all about.
I'm sorry, Professor, we're in a bit of a rush.
And we mustn't be late for school.
School? You're supposed to be in school?
But we're extremely grateful.
That's just what we wanted.
Servire sto.
ready?
Quid hoc facit.
I knew it! I knew it! There's the answer. You want to know what happened, it tells you.
Yeah, unfortunately it tells me in Latin.
You're in early, Bob.
Well, I had some marking. You don't know what this means, do you?
Licat volare si super tergum Aquila volat. It's a Latin proverb. Means any man can fly if he rides on the back of an eagle.
Does it?
Why's Tom Baxter got it written on the front of his exercise book?
Yes. That's what I was wondering.
How's it going?
Nearly finished. I hope to goodness this works, Jeff.
It'll work, don't worry. We take that into school, find out what it means.
There's an awful lot of it, and we haven't got much time.
We've got break, a PE lesson and lunch. We'll be alright.
But if you haven't got it sorted, that's how...
Look, we've done the difficult bit. The rest is easy.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Cavity.
Cavity.
That's what it says.
Okay.
And the next one is displacement.
Displacement.
So what does that give us?
To create, worldly, state of equilibrium, cavity, displacement.
Right. So now we know what the button does. It's a pool-like freezer to create a worldly state of equilibrium, cavity displacement.
Maybe we should go back and ask the professor.
We can't ask the professor, Tom. We can't ask anybody. Not without them realising what's going on.
But we need to know what that means, Jeff. That woman's in a bad way. We can't leave her like that.
We're not going to leave her, are we? We just have to work out what to do. Come on, let's do the next bit. Typical, isn't it?
What?
One subject that might actually be useful, and schools don't teach it anymore.
They're what? They're teaching themselves Latin in the library.
Baxter and Reynolds. Are you sure?
They went in there at the start of break, and that's where they've been ever since.
I thought they were supposed to be doing PE.
Mr. Stuyvesant sends people to the library if they've forgotten their kit.
And have they?
It's hidden in a spare locker. I checked.
So, they got out of doing PE so they could sneak off to the library to learn Latin.
Yes. Struck me as a little odd.
Odd? It's unbelievable.
Oh, and there's something else.
What?
I think you should have a look at this.
Maybe we've got this the wrong way around.
How do you mean?
Well, in a way, we don't want to know what the button does, do we? Because you did it. What we want to know is how to undo it.
Right.
If we ask something like, whatever it was you did to that woman, could you undo it?
Now?
Undo it now? Right, maybe that'd be enough.
It'd have to know which woman.
We could point.
Okay. So we go home at lunchtime, point, and say whatever you did to that woman, undo it now.
Excellent.
But we'd have to say it in Latin.
Yes.
You found it in his desk? Have you said anything to him?
Not yet.
Don't. I want a meeting on this one. Everyone who teaches them. Staff room, 12:45, prompt.
I'll see to it.
Okay.
Okay. Quid vos facio ad hic femina expedire id iam.
Did anything happen?
I'll go look.
Hello, you two. No school today?
We came home for lunch.
Oh, I see. Is that Mrs. Murray in the garage?
Yes, she's showing Tom something she found.
My word, Mrs. Murray, that is interesting.
Oh, lovely. She's slowed down a lot, you know, recently.
Yes, we'd noticed.
What have you got there, Mrs. Murray? Anything I can admire?
It's a spider. A big hairy spider. Goodness, Mrs. Murray, that is enormous.
Well, I must really be getting on. If you'd give her one of these, Jeff, and tell her I'll pick it up in a couple of days.
She's still the same. What does it mean, Neschio?
I don't understand.
Well, what does it say in the dictionary?
That's what it says. I do not understand.
There must have been a mistake in our question. We'll have to ask the professor.
Hang on.
We haven't got time to hang on, Jeff. Even if it means he has to find out about everything. We can't leave Mrs. Murray like that.
I know. But there may be a way we can get the professor's help without him finding out.
You think so?
We need your phone.
Well, I'm very grateful to you all for giving up part of your lunchtime like this. We're a little concerned about the activities of two of our pupils, Tom Baxter and Jeff Reynolds, whom Bob found in the library this morning trying to teach themselves Latin.
If you remember, these are the same boys I found doing a maths problem at lunch break last week. Just for fun, they said.
And this morning, Bob found this quite extraordinary document in Baxter's desk. It made us wonder if anyone else had noticed anything strange about their behaviour recently. Yes, Alice?
Well, I did catch them last week trying to make a sextant.
I beg your pardon?
A sextant? In my design class. I'm afraid I confiscated it.
Good heavens. What on earth?
It's a navigational device, Headmaster. Used to
Yes,
work-
I know what a sextant is. Thank you, Bob.
I think they've been borrowing books from my physics library as well, on lasers.
Lasers?
Richard's finished with the coins, Professor, but he needs to know...
Hang on a minute, Tom. You'll have to manage without me, Alison. I've got Jeff and Tom on the phone.
Ah.
Disuete, that's right. It's the imperative. Apparently they're trying to talk to someone on the internet in Latin.
Oh, really? What about?
Well, they seem to be trying to persuade him not to do something to some woman. Hello, Tom. Neschio, well, that means he doesn't understand. Well, we probably used the wrong verb. You see, without knowing precisely what you're talking about, I can't... Well, all right, we'll try again. But are you sure your friend doesn't speak something more accessible? Well, have you asked him? Well, yes, I certainly think it's worth trying. I suppose you would have to ask him in Latin, yes.
Loquere Britanniae.
Whoa! Hi, what can I do for you?
Do you understand English?
Right, we want you to only speak English from now on.
Whoa! Oh, thanks, Professor. It's just what we wanted.
It sure is.
Alison, do you know much about children?
I've got some cousins.
Boys? Tell me, when you think they might be involved in something, trouble of some sort, possibly dangerous, do you ever...
I always found the best thing was to pretend not to know and just look very surprised when it all came out in the papers.
Yes. Yes, that sounds very sensible.
If I could just recap for a moment. In the last 3 weeks, these boys have tried to find out about navigation, lasers, Roman history, ancient technology, the rules of civil aviation, the theory of gravity, the history of flight, rocks and maps.
Most of the reference atlases from the library have gone missing, and I'm pretty sure these boys are responsible.
And finally, we know they spent most of this morning trying to teach themselves Latin. Now, if we put all these things together, and in particular, if we look at them in conjunction with this, I'm sure you'll agree that, however unlikely it may seem, there is only one conclusion we can come to.
Now, the first thing we want to know is what you did to Mrs. Murray this morning.
Mrs. Murray, the woman in the garage.
She's in temporal stasis. What's that?
Oh, it doesn't matter what it is. We just want to know if it can be undone.
Reversals procedure. That's more like it. 1. State spatial parameters of host subject. 2. State preferred temporal parameters of host subject. 3. If more than one host for destasis exists, state... Oh, how many of these do you have to answer? 247!
We don't have time for this. Look, we want whatever you did to that woman this morning undone. And we want it done now.
She's alive! She's alive! What are you doing? You're frozen her up again. Are you mad?
We don't want to be here, do we?
What?
When she comes round, if she sees us, she'll really think we are aliens.
Oh, right. And the cat. What? We want to do the cat at the same time.
I'll get it.
What's that? It's just to say sorry. I thought she ought to know it was only an accident and that everything's all right.
Nice one.
You take care now, Mrs. M. Ooh, that's kind of painful.
Right. We want whatever the blue light did to Mrs. Murray
And the cat.
and the cat undone now.
Dear Mrs. Murray, sorry about what happened, but I didn't know you were there. Please do not worry. P.S. It is about 6 hours later than you think it is. Oh.
Well, that explains why I never wrote anything down, doesn't it?
Hmm?
The Centurion. If you wanted to know anything...
All he had to do was ask what a particular button did, and it told him.
I tell you, the time I wasted writing everything down in case we forgot.
A multiple atmospheric regenerator. Hey, if we wanted to breathe chlorine instead of oxygen...
Jeff! Let's get these books back to the library. We'll do the questions later, shall we?
Okay. You've been writing everything down? About Aquila?
Yeah, in an old exercise book. Why? What's wrong?
Nothing, I suppose. As long as nobody finds it.
Mr. Wharton? He's here.
Jeff!
See you at the hut.
Okay. Oh!
I think it's time we had a little talk, Tom,
Talk.
about this.
Oh.
I'll be quite honest with you. It took me a while to realize what was going on.
Yes.
It wasn't quite the sort of thing I was expecting, you understand.
No.
The trouble is, you see, teachers spend most of their lives forcing children to learn things they don't want to, and we forget that sometimes we don't have to.
Sorry?
We forget there are some children with the imagination to produce this sort of work, for example, who look at the world with a simple, burning curiosity to understand. Children who know that to fly high, a man must ride the eagle of knowledge.
Ah.
But the thing to realize, Tom, is this search for learning doesn't have to be a secret.
No?
You don't have to steal books from the library if you want to know something about lasers or Latin. I have a whole staff of broad-backed eagles, Tom, eager to carry you aloft. Why not use them? It's what they're for.
Is that what you wanted to talk about?
I want you to understand that if there's anything you want to know about anything, all you have to do is ask. The staff room door is always open. Will you promise me you'll remember that?
Yeah. Yes, I will.
Years.
What?
I suddenly thought maybe I could ask it how old it was and where it came from. It was made 6,000 years ago by the Iridians on Deneb. All I need now is to find out who the Iridians are and where Deneb is. Oh, where have you been?
Oh, Mr. Wharton wanted to see me.
What for?
He wanted to tell me that the staff room was full of broad-backed eagles, eager to carry me aloft.
He's not been well, has he?
And then he said we can take as many books as we like out of the library.
Oh, good.
And he asked us to remember that if there was anything we needed to know about anything, all we had to do was ask.
I think we've worked that one out for ourselves.